Why is it that no matter how much a man gives, it never seems to be enough for her? You show up, stay loyal, provide, protect, and still, there's that void in her eyes. Here's the truth. Most men are trapped in a cycle that has nothing to do with love, and everything to do with a lack of emotional intelligence, broken power dynamics, and an ignored reality of female nature. If you don't understand this now, you'll keep giving until there's nothing left of you to give. But if you stay with me, you're about to unlock the one shift that flips the game for good. And hey, if this message already feels like a slap of reality, the good kind, just take a second to like the video, leave a comment, or share it with someone who needs to hear this. You never know who might be saved by what you're learning right now. Let's break down the real reason behind why so many men feel emotionally drained and unappreciated. It starts with a truth no one ever taught us, but should have. The silent gap between what men give and what women feel. Most men think if they give enough love, loyalty, security, they'll finally hear her say, "You're all I ever wanted." But what actually happens? She still feels like something's missing, and you feel like you're failing, even when you're doing everything right. This silent disconnect has nothing to do with effort and everything to do with female nature, power dynamics, and a misunderstood version of love. Deep down, she's not trying to hurt you, but you don't know the game she's wired to play, and you were never taught how to win it. You're showing up as a good man, not a high-value man. And yes, there's a difference. Here's what most guys miss. It's not that she's ungrateful, it's that you're not triggering what keeps her emotionally invested. You think love is about sacrifice. She's thinking attraction is about mystery, presence, and emotional leadership. She's hardwired to seek masculine frame, a grounded energy that radiates confidence and emotional control without needing validation. You're giving from love. She's craving polarity. And when that polarity fades, even if she stays, she slowly disconnects. And if you don't learn how to flip that switch, resentment replaces intimacy before you even realize it. This doesn't mean you should become cold or manipulative, but it does mean you have to evolve. The old nice guy handbook? Burn it. Being passive, overly available, or emotionally dependent will keep you trapped in modern relationships that drain your self-worth. What she says she wants and what keeps her attracted aren't always the same thing. That's where attraction psychology comes in, and understanding it is no longer optional. Not if you want peace, power, and presence in your relationships. Not if you want to lead from a place of truth. Let's be real. Most of us weren't raised to understand women. We were raised to please them. And somewhere along the way, we confused self-respect with people-pleasing. The moment you start betraying your own boundaries just to keep her happy, you're not loving, you're negotiating. And women can feel that. They may not always say it, but the moment they feel your energy shift into neediness, their attraction begins to fade. Not because they're cruel, but because masculinity and emotional neediness can't live in the same room. One will always suffocate the other. Imagine this. You're at dinner. You planned the night, paid the bill, showed up looking your best, and still, something's off. She's scrolling her phone. Her body's there, but her energy isn't. You ask if something's wrong. She says, "No, I'm fine," but you can feel the wall. That wall isn't built on what you did wrong. It's built on what you stopped being. Her soul is wired to respond to inner strength, groundedness, and mental clarity, not just gestures. She wants to feel you lead without having to ask. But here's the twist most men never see coming. The more you chase her emotional approval, the less you have of her emotional presence. That's the paradox. What women say they want often contradicts what biologically triggers their loyalty and respect. And unless you understand red pill mindset, not as a trend, but as a tool for awareness, you'll keep fighting ghosts instead of seeing patterns. This isn't about blaming women, it's about decoding them. And when you do, you stop reacting and start leading. Leadership isn't loud. It's not domination or control. It's calm, grounded, decisive energy that knows when to say no, when to walk away, and when to stand firm, even when she tests you. And believe me, she will. Those tests aren't always conscious. but they're real. A man anchored in stoicism, discipline, and emotional detachment doesn't flinch. He doesn't beg for peace. He becomes the source of it, and that presence, that's what she's been unconsciously waiting for. Not a provider, not a pleaser, a centered man she can lean into. And here's where most men break. They think passing her test once is enough, but the game doesn't end. The test just changes shape. That's why you can't fake this. You have to become this, day by day, rep by rep, moment by moment. Your male self-improvement journey isn't just about gaining tools. It's about becoming unshakable. And when she senses that shift in you, the entire relationship dynamic resets. And here, a quick pause. If this content is opening your eyes to truths you never heard before, hit that like button and subscribe now. Don't wait, because the deeper we go, the more everything starts to click. And trust me, what comes next will change how you see yourself forever. Let's keep going. So how do you build that kind of presence? It starts by shifting from performance to embodiment. Stop thinking, what do I need to do to make her happy? And start asking, what kind of man do I need to become to live in truth? That shift alone reframes everything. No more chasing. No more pretending. Just alignment between your actions and your purpose. When a man leads with confidence, not apology, he doesn't have to ask for her attention. She gives it freely. Not out of duty, but out of desire. A woman isn't testing you to destroy you. She's testing to find your edges. And if she keeps finding weakness, indecision, or emotional chaos, she pulls back, sometimes slowly, sometimes overnight. That's why emotional over-explaining or dumping your feelings impulsively never helps. Emotional honesty is powerful, but only when filtered through emotional control and mental clarity. Vulnerability without structure isn't intimacy, it's burden. And the moment you become her emotional dumping ground instead of her emotional rock, the polarity dies, quietly but permanently. The mistake most men make is thinking presence means words. It doesn't. It means energy, stillness, awareness. It's the way you sit across from her without needing to fill every silence. It's the way your eyes hold contact without seeking permission. It's the ability to listen without absorbing her storm. That is masculine frame in motion, unshaken but present. You don't calm her by fixing her feelings. You calm her by refusing to drown in them. And that's what makes her feel truly safe. Take Jordan, for example. A smart, well-meaning guy in his 30s. His girlfriend kept saying he didn't get her, so he tried harder. He bought gifts, cooked dinner, listened for hours. But nothing changed. She eventually left, said he was too nice. What she really meant, he lacked inner strength. He gave everything but never led with grounded energy. After months of reading, coaching, and studying male psychology, Jordan stopped performing and started embodying. Now, he's engaged to a woman who respects him deeply because he respects himself first. Your story doesn't have to end like Jordan started, but for it to shift, you have to confront one truth. You've been conditioned to betray yourself in the name of love. That's not love. That's abandonment. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you apologize for a boundary, you weaken your own foundation. And women feel it. They may not have the language for it, but energetically, they know. The solution? Reclaim your self-worth before you try to earn anyone else's love. Otherwise, it's never really yours. Let's be brutally honest. Your greatest power isn't in what you provide. It's in how you hold space. Not just for her, but for yourself. A man who understands stoicism doesn't run from discomfort. He sits with it, he studies it, and then he moves through it with precision. That's what creates gravity. That's what creates trust. And once you master that energy, you stop asking, what do women want? And start asking, what kind of man would I admire if I met him today? Now we're talking. You want her to respect you? Respect your own time. Respect your own word. If you say you're going to the gym at 6 a.m., go. If you said you'd cut back on drinking, stop making excuses. Women observe more than they speak. And when they see inconsistency, they feel unsafe. Not because you're dangerous, but because you lack discipline. And without discipline, your words are just noise. A man who honors his routine is a man who trains his masculinity daily without saying a word. You can't build polarity if you're emotionally blending with her. That means stop mirroring every mood swing. Stop trying to rescue her from her own emotions. Your role isn't to fix her. Your role is to anchor her by staying grounded in your own emotional lane. Emotional detachment isn't cold, it's courageous. It means you feel everything, but you don't react to everything, and that's what makes you rare. In a world full of reactive boys, she craves the stillness of a man in command of himself. Here's something you probably never heard growing up. Your emotions are sacred, but not always shareable. Not every feeling needs to be expressed to your partner. That's where brotherhood comes in. Coaches, mentors, men's circles. Spaces where you can process, reflect, and decompress without spilling your center at home. When you confuse partnership with therapy, you collapse the power dynamics. And when she becomes your emotional caretaker, she loses attraction. Even if she doesn't say it out loud, keep that channel sacred. Protect your center. Let's zoom out for a second. Everything we're talking about comes down to one thing: self-mastery. You want her to admire you? Master your mind, master your body, master your energy. Not for her, for you. That level of dedication radiates. It pulls people in without you needing to chase. When a man prioritizes his mission, his presence becomes magnetic. That's the law of masculine polarity. It's not about control, it's about alignment. And alignment creates freedom, both in your life and in your relationships. Stop asking her to lead. That's not her role. You were born to lead, not control, but lead. Leading means you make decisions from clarity, not fear. It means you take initiative without waiting for permission. And it means you're willing to hold tension when needed. That's where emotional intelligence shines. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about recognizing them, choosing your response, and standing tall through discomfort. That's what earns trust. That's what earns respect. And that's what makes her feel like she can finally exhale. What does control your emotions really look like? It's when she's angry and you don't escalate. It's when she's distant and you don't chase. It's when you feel triggered and you breathe before speaking. That pause? That's power. That's mastery. Most men react. Rare men respond. And when you respond with grounded energy instead of emotional chaos, you reset the entire tone of the relationship. That's how you break patterns without saying a word. That's how you lead with presence, not pressure. Let's talk about timing. Most men only start learning this after heartbreak, divorce, or betrayal. Pain becomes the portal, but it doesn't have to be. You can choose awareness before collapse. You can evolve from curiosity, not crisis. The path of male self-improvement isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about building what was never taught. And as you build, you stop chasing women who drain you and start attracting women who rise with you. Because now, you're showing up with self-respect, not emotional survival. Ever felt like you're walking on eggshells in your own relationship? That every move you make could set off a reaction you don't see coming? That's not love. That's a lack of alignment. And it begins when you abandon your boundaries. A man with no boundaries is a man without a backbone. And if you won't protect your values, don't expect her to respect them either. Masculinity isn't about being harsh. It's about being non-negotiable with your truth. And the moment you bend out of fear, the balance shifts. You can't lead from a place of emotional chaos. That's why mental clarity is non-negotiable. You need time alone. You need silence. You need structure. Not for productivity, but for sanity. Every man should have rituals that anchor him. Journaling, cold exposure, fitness, solitude, reading. These aren't hobbies. They're the foundation of your masculine frame. They create the emotional muscle you'll rely on when storms hit. Without them, you're guessing. With them, you're grounded. And when you're grounded, you stop chasing and start choosing. Most men wait until it's too late to course correct. They wait until the relationship's already cold, until she's already emotionally gone, until their self-worth is dust. But the real work happens before the collapse. It starts the moment you decide to build your inner world with the same intensity you've used to chase external results. That's self-mastery. That's real power. When a man cultivates strength inside first, he becomes untouchable, not because nothing affects him, but because he's trained for the storm before it comes. Let's get brutally honest. Many women out there are unconsciously chasing a fantasy version of masculinity that's been erased by modern culture. They crave a man who leads without ego, speaks with clarity, and moves with purpose. That's the rarest man of all. And if you can become that man, not pretend, but truly become, you stop asking why she's never satisfied. Because you're no longer performing for her satisfaction. You're living your truth. That's when respect flows naturally. That's when attraction becomes effortless. Now pause with me for a second. If what you're hearing is triggering something deep, something you always felt, but could never explain, now's the moment to act. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's keep this momentum going. What's coming next might just break the final piece of that old conditioning holding you back. Stay with me. One powerful shift: stop thinking of relationships as the prize. You are the prize. That doesn't mean arrogance. It means you've done the inner work and you bring real value emotionally, mentally, spiritually. When you see yourself that way, everything changes. You no longer tolerate low standards or manipulation. You stop playing the approval game. And that's when female nature reveals itself, because the moment she feels your energy elevate, she either rises with you or exits. Either way, you've already won. Most men chase comfort in women because they lack peace in themselves. That's the trap. If you don't know who you are, you'll constantly seek yourself in her reactions. But when you cultivate inner strength, you become emotionally sovereign. You don't need her to be okay for you to be okay. And ironically, that's what makes you more attractive, because women trust what they can't control, not what they can mold. The more grounded you become, the more her feminine energy has space to relax. Here's a test. If she pulled away tomorrow, would your world fall apart? If yes, that's your work. You've anchored your worth to her presence, and that's a dangerous game. The man you're becoming cannot be built on someone else's validation. You must know your self-worth without needing her to confirm it. Build your vision, live your values, stand on your own. And when you do, love becomes a choice, not a need. That's real freedom. And that's the only frame where lasting connection can exist. Let's drop one more truth. Women don't fall for men who need them. They fall for men who inspire them. Not with flowers or poems, but with purpose, direction, and unwavering clarity. A man who lives in his purpose becomes unforgettable. He may not always be easy to handle, but he's impossible to replace. Why? Because he's rare. In a world full of men chasing validation, he stands out by building something deeper, something unshakable. That's what turns admiration into desire. So many men walk around thinking they're not enough, and that belief shapes every move they make. But the truth is, you are never meant to be enough for her. You are meant to be whole for yourself. That's the foundation of emotional intelligence. When you stop outsourcing your identity to how she sees you, you finally see yourself clearly. And from that clarity comes power, peace, and a kind of quiet dominance that doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. Here's the brutal irony. The more you try to be everything for her, the more she sees less of what made you magnetic in the first place. You lose your edge, your mystery, your grounded masculine presence. Don't let love make you soft. Let it make you deeper. Let it sharpen your masculinity, not erase it. The version of you that led with emotional control, ambition, and passion, that's what she was drawn to. Don't abandon that man once you feel safe. Keep becoming him relentlessly. And maybe the hardest pill to swallow is this. Modern relationships are failing because most men don't know how to lead themselves. They're good at reacting, at apologizing, at performing, but leadership? That takes training. It takes male self-improvement, day in and day out, even when no one's watching. And once you start walking that path, for real, you stop chasing love and start attracting loyalty. Not because you begged for it, but because you became the kind of man who commands it effortlessly. She's not supposed to complete you. She's supposed to complement you. And if you're still looking for completion in her eyes, it means you haven't met the version of you that's whole yet. Find him, build him, Every choice you make is either aligning with that man or delaying his arrival. Stay on the path of stoicism, growth, and grounded presence, and you'll never again ask, why isn't she satisfied? Because you'll be too focused on becoming the man who doesn't need the question. You've made it this far, and that already says a lot about who you're becoming. Now the real question is, what are you going to do with this clarity? Are you going to keep bending yourself for love that doesn't see you? Or are you finally ready to reclaim your masculinity, restore your boundaries, and lead from a place of inner strength? Let me ask you something real. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, but still, she wasn't satisfied? Maybe it's time to stop asking, what more can I give her? And start asking, who am I becoming in the process? Because when you shift your focus from chasing to mastering, from proving to embodying, that's when the entire game changes. That's when modern relationships stop being a battlefield and start becoming a reflection of your power. So I'll leave you with this. Drop a comment below and tell me, what part of this hit you the hardest? Was it the emotional detachment, the power dynamics? Or maybe, just maybe, it was the part where you realized you've been giving your all to someone who never truly saw you. Let's make this real. Comment below with, no more performing. I'm reclaiming my frame. Let the world know a new version of you is emerging. And this time, he's not apologizing for his presence. Thank you for staying until the end. Truly, if this message meant something to you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video. Send it to one brother who needs this right now. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. There's a movement happening, and you're already part of it.